words of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, offering is the placing of your entire being with all its moments, true and false, good and bad, right and wrong, before the Divine for transformation. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri. Book 1, The Book of Beginnings. Canto 3, The Yoga of the Soul's Release. Page 49. A vision lightened on the viewless heights, a wisdom illumined from the voiceless depths, a deeper interpretation, greatened truth, a grand reversal of the night and day, all the world's values change, heightening life's aim. A wiser word, a larger thought came in than what the slow labor of human mind can bring. A secret sense awoke that could perceive a presence and a greatness everywhere. The universe was not now this senseless rill, borne round inert on an immense machine. It cast away its grandiose, lifeless front, a mechanism no more or work of chance, but a living moment of the body of God. A spirit hid in forces and in forms was the spectator of the mobile scene. The beauty and the ceaseless miracle let in a glow of the unmanifest. The formless everlasting moved in it, seeking its own perfect form in souls and things. Life kept no more a dull and meaningless shape. In the struggle and upheaval of the world, he saw the labor of a Godhead's birth, a secret knowledge masked as ignorance, fate covered with an unseen necessity, the game of chance of an omnipotent will, a glory and a rapture and a charm, the all blissful sat unknown within the heart. Earth's pains were the ransom of its present delight. A glad communion tinged the passing hours. The days were travelers on a destined road, the nights companions of his musing spirit. A heavenly impetus quickened all his breast. The trudge of time changed to a splendid march. The divine dwarf towered to unconquered worlds. Earth grew too narrow for his sweet dream. of our Divine Mother, taken from the Collective Works of our Divine Mother, Volume 9, page 413, topic, How to Live the Spiritual Life. Our Divine Mother says, to live the spiritual life is to open to another world within oneself. It is to reverse one's consciousness, as it were, the ordinary human consciousness. The ordinary human consciousness, even in the most developed, even in men of great talent and great realization, is a moment turned outwards. All the energies are directed outwards. The whole consciousness is spread outwards, and if anything is turned inwards, it is very little, very rare, very fragmentary. It happens only under the pressure of very special circumstances, violent shocks, the shocks life gives, precisely with the intention of slightly reversing this moment of exteriorization of the consciousness. Our Divine Mother says, all who lived a spiritual life have had the same experience. All of a sudden, something in their being has been reversed, so to speak, has been turned suddenly and sometimes completely inwards, and also at the same time upwards, from within upwards. But it is not an external above. It is within, deep something other than the heights as they are physically conceived. Something has literally been overturned. Something has been literally been turned over. Our Divine Mother says, when the reversal of the being has taken place, all that is finished. One no longer seeks, one sees. One no longer deduces, one knows. One no longer gropes, one walks straight to the goal. And when one has gone further, only a little further, one knows, feels, lives the supreme truth, that the supreme truth alone acts, the Supreme Lord alone wills, knows and does through human beings. How could be there any possibilities of error there? What he does because he wills to do it. For our mistaken vision, these are perhaps incomprehensible actions, but they have a meaning and an aim and lead where they ought to lead. Our Divine Mother says, you can create your atmosphere by controlling your thoughts, turning them exclusively towards the sadhana, controlling your actions, turning them exclusively towards the sadhana, abolishing all desires and all useless external ordinary activities, living a more intense inner life, separating yourselves from ordinary things, ordinary thoughts, ordinary reactions, ordinary actions, then you create a kind of atmosphere around you. Our Divine Mother says, for example, instead of reading any odd thing and chatting and doing anything whatever, if you read only what helps you to follow the path, if you act only in conformity with what can lead you to the divine realization, if you abolish in yourself all desires and impulses, turn towards external things, if you can calm your mental being, appease your vital being, if you shut yourself against suggestions coming from outside and become immune to the action of people surrounding you, you create such a spiritual atmosphere that nothing can touch it, and it no longer depends at all on the circumstances or on whom you live with or on the conditions you live in, because you are enclosed in your own spiritual atmosphere. Our Divine Mother says, and that is how one obtains it, by turning one's attention solely to the spiritual life, by reading only what can help in the spiritual life, by doing only what leads you to the spiritual life, and so on. Then you create your own atmosphere. But naturally, if you open all the doors, listen to what people tell you, follow the advice of this one and the inspirations of that one, and you're full of desires for the outward things, you cannot create a spiritual atmosphere for yourself. You will have an ordinary atmosphere like everybody else. Our Divine Mother says the true attitude for a yogi is to be plastic and ready to obey the divine command, whatever it may be. Nothing must be indispensable to him, nothing a burden. Often, says our Divine Mother, the first impulse of those who want to live the spiritual life is to throw away all they have. But they have to do it because they want to be rid of a burden, not because they want to surrender it to the divine. Our Divine Mother says men who possess wealth and are surrounded by the things that give them luxury and enjoyment turn to the divine, and immediately their moment is to run away from these things, or they say to escape from their bondage. But it is a wrong moment. You must not think that the things that you have belong to you. You must not think that the things you have belong to you. They belong to the divine. If the divine wants you to enjoy anything, enjoy it. But be ready too to give it up the very next moment with a smile. Question, sweet mother, where does our true spiritual life begin? For this, our Divine Mother says, the true spiritual life begins when one is in communion with the divine in the psychic. Let me repeat. Our Divine Mother says, the true spiritual life begins when one is in communion with the divine in the psychic. When one is conscious of the divine presence in the psychic and in constant communion with the psychic. Then the spiritual life begins, not before. The true spiritual life. When one is united, says our Divine Mother, with one's psychic being and conscious of the divine presence and receives the impulses for one's action from this divine presence, and when the will has become a conscious collaborator with the divine's will, that is the starting point. Before that, one may be an aspirant to the spiritual life, but one does not have a spiritual life. Question, sweet mother, what is it that will help me always remember that I am living a spiritual life? For this, our Divine Mother says, the awareness of the divine presence in all things and always. A prayer given by our Divine Mother. Supreme Lord, grant that I may become conscious of your presence.